This week on 2024 Campaign Trail, we take a look at some of the highlights from two appearances of former President Donald Trump in his hometown of New York City over the past week, and some unscripted moments on the campaign trail with Vice President Kamala Harris and her Democratic running mate, Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota. But first, a look at the latest polls released in recent days. Outward Intelligence had Vice President Harris ahead 4 points of former President Donald Trump in a national poll. She had a 3-point lead in both an Emerson College poll and the same from the Morning Consult, both within the margin of error. Next, we take you to the first of two New York City appearances former President Trump made last week, this one at the Economic Club of New York. He delivered an address focused on his economic plan, which included promises that tariffs on imported goods would help defray childcare costs for American workers.
I stood up to China like no one else before me. No one came even close. And I saved the U.S. auto industry from obliteration with a 27.5% tariff on all Chinese cars that remains in place to this day. They want to take it off, but they can't. Because number one, it's too much money, and number two, we would be invaded by Chinese cars on top of the other invasions that are taking place. Without it, our auto industry would be dead. And now I am going further. We will bring our auto-making industry to the record levels of 37 years ago. And we'll be able to do it very quickly through tariffs and other smart use of certain things that we have that other countries don't. To stop this onslaught and lower prices, I'm pledging today that in my second term, we will eliminate a minimum of 10 old regulations for every one new regulation. We'll be able to do that quite easily, actually. And instead of attacking industries of the future, we will embrace them, including making America the world capital for crypto and Bitcoin. Fourth, at the suggestion of Elon Musk, who has given me his complete and total endorsement. That's nice. He's a smart guy. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. It's very, very much appreciated. I will create a government efficiency commission tasked with conducting a complete financial and performance audit of the entire federal government and making recommendations for drastic reforms. We need to do it. Can't go on the way we are now. And Elon, because he's not very busy, has agreed to head that task force. Be interesting. If he has the time, that'd be a good one to do it. But he's agreed to do it. The fifth pillar of my plan is to make the Trump tax cuts permanent. They are massive tax cuts, biggest ever, permanent. And to cut taxes even more, and we will have no tax on tips, something which they copied 4 weeks after I said it. She got up and said, no tax on tips. I said, I just said that. She is actually copying a lot of my plan. In fact, we're going to send her a MAGA cap sometime in the next week. We're having a special one day. But we also know she doesn't mean it. She's going to stick with what her whole life has been about. And also, no tax on Social Security benefits. People on Social Security have been wiped out by inflation, and now on top of it, we tax their benefits. We're not going to tax their benefits. We have so many different ways of making so much money. This country, the potential is so incredible. We don't have to take it away from people on Social Security. We're not going to do that. We're going to save Social Security. She's going to destroy Social Security. To further support the revival of American manufacturing, my plan calls for expanded R&D tax credits, 100% bonus depreciation, expensing for new manufacturing investments, and a reduction in the corporate tax rate from 21% to 15% solely for companies that make their product in America. Under Kamala, the United States is becoming a third world banana republic. She and her party are censoring speech, weaponizing the justice system, and trying to throw their political opponents, me, in jail. This hasn't happened. I didn't do that to Crooked Hillary. I said that would be a terrible thing, wouldn't it? Putting the wife of the President of the United States in jail, but they view it differently, I guess, nowadays, but that's okay. And they always have to remember that two can play the game. Putin came out today, he endorsed Kamala. And I didn't know, was I supposed to call him up and say, thank you very much, I appreciate it. But he endorsed Kamala. I have a feeling, I don't know. I don't know exactly what to say about that.
Former President Trump made another appearance in his hometown of New York City on Friday, as he made his way to court to appeal a civil case verdict that found him liable of sexual abuse and defamation of author E. Jean Carroll.
This is a long and complicated web and story, but it all goes back to the DOJ and Kamala and Sleepy Joe and all the rest of them. We have a whole rigged election system. Nobody's ever seen anything like what's happening. Now I understand. Yesterday they're bringing up Russia again, that they've done for years. Never found anything. But they should be looking at China, Iran, lots of other places. I haven't spoken to anybody from Russia in years. They know that, but it's a scam. But it all goes back to the DOJ because we had a trial today. It's an appeal of a ridiculous verdict of a woman I have never met. I don't know. I have no idea who she is. She wrote a book and she made a ridiculous story up. She put it in her book, and we're now appealing the decision. We had an extremely hostile judge appointed by Clinton, very good friends of Clinton. I guess he presided over the marriage ceremony of one of the lawyers on the case against us. And it's very sad. Judge Lewis Kaplan, angry man. He was so angry. I went to the trial. I've been in a lot of litigation over the years. I've never seen such anger, or wanted to throw one of our attorneys in jail, who threatened her with jail. Nobody's ever seen anything like it over nothing. I've never seen such anger, but all of our judges, I mean, we had a brilliant judge, and I think a very fair judge in Florida. I think we have another judge who's very fair. I just ask for fair. I don't want anything different from anybody else. I just ask for fairness. We have another judge or a couple of judges that I think are fair. Then we have other judges that I think the whole thing is, I think the system is a disgrace. The case that we met on today, and then we're going to talk about job numbers, which are horrible, by the way, horrible, like really bad. And you know that. I'm sure you won't report on it, but the job numbers are terrible. We're going to talk about the appeal today. We had a great appellate lawyer go down representing us, and I think John did a very good job. But this is a disgraceful case, and disgraceful in particular because it's about a former president of the United States who is now leading in the polls to be the president again. And this is being worked with the DOJ, Department of Justice, as are all of these cases. They all come out. Atlanta, Fani, that is all Department of Justice. Nobody knew that. The case with Judge Engoron, the most overturned judge in the state, that is very close because they sent their team from the DOJ to help him. The district attorney, Alvin Bragg, that was all worked with. Again, they sent a top operative from the department, from the DOJ Department of, I call it the Department of Injustice, because they're using the Department of Justice to rig the campaign. These cases are disgraceful. Now, they're brought, for the most part, in front of very hostile areas where Republicans get 3 or 4%, like downtown Manhattan, in front of very hostile judges, like hostile like you wouldn't believe. Judge Mershon, Judge Engoron, and Judge Kaplan, all of them hostile areas. and very, very hostile judges. I've never seen anything like it. And very bad thing in this case, New York. Very bad thing for New York. Businesses won't come to New York because of what took place with Judge Engoron. I can tell you that. And probably the rest of them also. But this case involved a woman who wrote a book, and I guess she said something in the book. That's when I first heard about it. I first heard about it in the White House. And of course, I denied the story because it's not true. I have no idea who the woman is, and I never met her. Now, I don't know about a picture that was taken 40 years ago with her husband on a celebrity line, so I don't think that counts. But as far as I know, I never met her. I never touched her. I would have had no interest in meeting her in any way, shape, or form.
Former President Trump was also active on his social media accounts this week. That included posting a series of short videos, all about a minute or under, on his take on various subjects. That included two this past week touting his prowess on such platforms.
For all of those that want to save TikTok in America, vote for Trump. The other side's closing it up. But I'm now a big star on TikTok. We even have TikTok Jack, and we're setting records. We're not doing anything with TikTok, but the other side's going to close it up. So if you like TikTok, go out and vote for Trump. If you don't care about TikTok and other things like safety, security, and prosperity, then you can vote for a Marxist who's going to destroy our country. Thank you very much. We have the greatest social media program in history. There's never been anything like it, not even close. And yet today I read where Kamala is beating us. Well, it turned out to be misinformation and disinformation. She's not even a small fraction of what we do. But that's the way they do it. They lie. Last week they said they had 818,000 jobs that were fake, turned out. So they reported almost 1 million jobs, and it turned out that they were fake. They didn't want to report it until after the election. But you know what? We had a whistleblower or a leaker. Either one was okay. And they were forced to report 818,000 fake jobs in order to make their numbers look better. These people cannot run our country. They're going to run it into the ground. We're not going to have a country left. You'll probably never have another election. Thank you very much.
Next, a moment from Thursday's Jimmy Kimmel Live on ABC, on which Doug Emhoff talked about his role on the campaign trail for his wife, Kamala Harris, and the advice she gave him as he became the nation's first ever second gentleman.
Why don't you go focus on some issues? You're the first man in this role. How about focusing on gender equity? And then, of course, when the Dobbs decision came out, I really leaned into that. And she said, you're the first Jewish person ever to be a White House principal. There was a rise in hate and anti-Semitism, and that was another thing that she really pushed me to use the voice on, and that's what I've been doing.
Did it take you a minute to get comfortable with that, with advocating for serious things?
Definitely, because, again, I was a Hollywood lawyer. I was an entertainment lawyer right here in this community for 30 years. I loved it, every minute of it, and it was a little jarring to go from that to get put on the Biden-Harris ticket and spend all that time getting them elected. Then it's like, okay, what do you do now? And going into that, Charlottesville, Tree of Life, there was just a rise in anti-Semitism. So I was already feeling that as a Jewish person. And so it was a real natural thing to lean into. And we got the first national strategy ever to counter anti-Semitism at the White House. And that was in part the fighting of my wife, the vice president.
What was your reaction when your wife turned black? Were you surprised?
It's so interesting. All that stuff, it's a distraction, though. Like, we can joke about it, but it's literally a distraction. So all the insults, all the things coming at her, coming at me, coming at our family, it's really just a distraction from what they're trying to do.
The Supreme Court has ruled that the president has immunity, can do pretty much what the president wants to do. As her husband, does that worry you at all?
Once she gets elected, it's interesting. As she's preparing for the debate, somebody asked me, well, what's it like you know, debating her. You're both trial lawyers. Have you ever? I said, no, I've never won one. And so I'm looking forward to this.
Next, we're on the road in Pittsburgh and Lancaster, Pennsylvania. That's where the top of this year's Democratic ticket, Vice President Kamala Harris and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, were meeting with voters on bus tour stops in the state. Vice President Harris was slated to remain in Pittsburgh throughout the weekend as she prepared for the ABC presidential debate, slated for Tuesday.
We'll bring you over here. Okay. Come here. I didn't say hi to you. Come on. Come on. Very well. How are you? Good. Is that your sister? Yeah, I could see that. Can you take a picture with her? Come on. There we go. Who's got it? Okay. I'll see you guys later.
I better let you. That's fine. Move my seat. I'm okay.
You're doing right for him. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Nice to meet you. Travis, they can tell we're going to be, this is our first stop. There you go. Okay. We'll do it. All right. Well, you told me that you're going to be interested in some woolly pies. We are. You going to explain us? Absolutely. Now, here I have to tell you, the governor of Maine talks about whoopie pies. Do they get to lay claim to that?
That he does. There are 3 states that lay claim to the whoopie pie: Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, and Maine.
So who has?
Pennsylvania,
All right,
obviously.
that's what I needed to know. So, Mayor, I said, Janet Mills is always telling me about Maine whoopie pies or whatever. And I mentioned, I said, you know, I hear the folks in Pennsylvania talk about
Yeah, these are really good.
So what am I looking at for whoopie pie?
Traditional whoopie pie is a chocolate cake, cookie combination with cream icing in between. The rumor was it was developed that farm wives used to pack it up, leftover cake batter they would make into a portable cake for their husbands to take to work out to the fields. So it's a
Is it
very
sacrilegious to
popular.
move away from chocolate, or is that acceptable?
That is peanut butter, original. There's the variety pack with chocolate chip. There is pumpkin with fall. That's a big popularity.
We're a big fan of pumpkin.
We're
Big fan of pumpkin? Okay. All right.
All right, I think that's what we're going to do.
Absolutely.
All right.
Peaches are really good here too.
Peaches too, that's really good. That could balance it out to have a nutritional diet. Yeah. I said, look at me, I have no problem picking out donuts and things, so. Well, it's fantastic. So you guys have been here
Over 50 years. Yep. And
year-round too.
open year-round.
Yeah, see, a lot of them in Minnesota in the fall to get the apples coming in.
Right.
Big apples too.
Absolutely. Yep. We're
University of
familiar.
Minnesota with the Honeycrisp. You know your Honeycrisp
Yep,
history, so
sure do.
it's a the big one.
All right. Next thing would be apple cider donut.
Oh, I already picked them out.
No, pick some more.
Apple cider.
We're going to try and fuel our volunteers on donuts. So let's get a couple of those. Yep.
I want to try to find it. Look at this pie. The cinnamon streusel apple pie. I know.
Thank you. Every day? How many donuts every day do you make?
Try. Dozens and dozens. That's for sure.
Fabulous.
Well, good morning, everyone, or getting close to afternoon, I guess. We're flying across the country. Hey, first, before we get started, our team just briefed me on this. You may be following this. We have a school shooting going on in Georgia at this time. And we've been briefed on it. The White House has been briefed on it. This is tragic. We don't know any of the details on it yet, but it's a situation that's all too common, and our hearts are out there right now, but our work needs to do to prevent these in the future, as we know. So I know it's a little bit of a heavy heart for all of us as we think about it, but it's the work you're doing. Thanks to each and every one of you. We come bearing gifts, apple cider donuts, and I got it clarified on this. The governor of Maine always tells me that Maine is the home of whoopie pies. They put this to rest with pumpkin whoopie pie. That's for you, but thank you all. Look, my daughter Hope is with me today. We're here first and foremost to say thank you. The energy that you're feeling in this room is across the country, whether it's in Omaha, Nebraska, or it was in Savannah, Georgia last week, or it's folks standing in 109-degree heat in Las Vegas here a couple weeks ago, all with the beautiful idea that you come together here because you believe and you love this country. And the idea that politics can be joyful, and politics can be forward-looking, and politics can be decent and inspiring. All of those things are possibilities for us. And what we know, too, about politics is it's a means to an end. Not just about winning an election. We need to win the election so we can put policies in place that improve people's lives, whether that's access to reproductive care and health care, whether it's good public schools, whether it's building infrastructure, or creating jobs that pay people a living wage so they can live their lives with dignity. Maybe the idea of owning a home someday shouldn't be so out of reach to people. And the policies that Vice President Harris is putting in place makes that possible. So we oftentimes say this: you don't get elected to bank political capital, you get elected to burn it to improve lives. And yes. This is going to be door-to-door, phone call to phone call. It's going to be engaging people who it is a deliberate effort by some people to make them believe that our political system is broken, to make them believe that things are pessimistic. My God, every time I hear Donald Trump give a speech, it's like the next screenplay for Mad Max or something. They're rooting against America. They do not believe in the exceptionalism of this country. They do not believe in the people who built this country. They simply want to complain about them. And by you coming here and talking neighbor to neighbor, that's what inspires people. My wife always talks about this. She said, I don't read the paper to see the movie reviews. I ask people that I know what they think about it. And they go, that's the same thing that's going on here. And I think all of you in this room, it's not hyperbole to say, this election could very well hinge on this county here and this field office here and the folks that we get out. That is an awesome responsibility, but it's also an awesome opportunity. How many times in your life do you get 62 J's to change the direction of the country? And maybe bigger than that, to change the direction of the world, addressing real issues like climate, addressing real inequities we see, and aspiring to something bigger than ourselves. Those things are all possible. So I know it's one phone call at a time. It's one door knock at a time. It's one voter registration at a time. But each one of those is somebody getting back into the system. Somebody getting back into this idea that our communities can be bigger than ourselves. So I think on behalf of Vice President Harris and myself, just please accept our deep, sincere thanks, but also please accept the inspiration you're providing to us. This is where we're getting our energy. I'm telling you, it is everywhere. People are doing this work. Look, you could be anywhere today. You can do anything with your time. You chose to come here. That inspires people. That inspires your neighbors. So Hope and I are thrilled to be here. I was talking today, there are so many things that Minnesota and Pennsylvania have in common. And someone said, but Super Bowl rings is not one of them. I know, he reminded me of that. Look, it was the taconite mines in northern Minnesota that fueled the furnaces that built the machines that won World War II and built this country. These are the folks that you're talking to. These are the folks that our policies, good public schools, freedom to make your own health care decisions, all of those things matter. So I want to tell you, thank you for doing this. We got 62 days. You've been hearing me say this, and I mean it. We can sleep when we're dead. Now is not the time. Days, but the thing is that we're doing it with a sense of joy, with a sense of optimism, and a sense to win this thing. We will win this thing, and it will come right through this office. That is something to be proud of. So, if you get somebody on the phone as we're here today, let me talk to them. I'll pick it up, and I make the calls. This is what I did. So if you get somebody on the phone, I'll talk to them. We'll make the case to them. This is one where we know our neighbors, our friends, our family, that they've been led down a path that's negative, that you have to put fear into people. Fear does not inspire people. I supervised the lunchroom for a lot of years. Fear is fear. You can fear people into things. It doesn't inspire them. We're here to inspire them. We're here to lift them up. We're here to believe in politics. There are billions of people around the world that could not imagine sitting in a room like this and the ability to determine your own future by doing that. We get that opportunity. So let's do it with joy. Let's do it with optimism. We're thankful for all you do. Let's go win this.
Next, a look at some of the latest developments in U.S. Senate races in the swing states of Arizona, Nevada, and Wisconsin. In all three, the Democratic Senate candidates, two of them incumbents, are outperforming the Harris-Walz ticket. In the latest CNN poll of Wisconsin voters, Senator Tammy Baldwin, a Democrat, is up 6 points over Republican challenger Eric Hovde. Insider Advantage polled Nevada voters and found the incumbent Democrat, Senator Jackie Rosen, up 10 points over her Republican challenger, military veteran Sam Brown. And in Arizona, the same firm found Congressman Ruben Gallego up 4 points over Republican Kari Lake. Next, ads from each of these candidates that have been running on television and digital platforms in the past week.
They don't clock out at 5 or care if it's the weekend. That means we keep working too.
So when Eric Hovde says that farmers don't work hard, that pisses me off.
Think of farming. Look at the old physical toil that it would take on your body. Now you're largely driving around a tractor.
A California banker criticizing Wisconsin farmers for not working hard? We know what that is.
Eric Hovde, what the hell's wrong with this guy?
I'm Tammy Baldwin, and I approve this message.
Democrats assume because I'm black, I'm voting Democrat. Why? Biden, Harris, and the Democrats have been a disaster. A tank of gas, a trip to the grocery store. Everything costs more, a lot more. Democrats did this, and Tammy Baldwin has been right there with them. 25 years in Washington, and Tammy Baldwin's done nothing. I'm done with the Democrats. It's time for change.
I'm Eric Hovde, and I approve this message.
I'm Jackie Rosen, and I approve this message.
Nevadans depend on Social Security and Medicare, but MAGA extremist Sam Brown is putting them at risk. Sam Brown embraced sunsetting Medicare and Social Security. Sam Brown publicly supported forcing massive cuts to Social Security and Medicare, and was caught on tape saying he admires the plan to phase out Social Security and Medicare entirely in 5 years. Sam Brown, another MAGA extremist trying to cut Social Security and Medicare.
Gas prices are up 20%. Housing and grocery prices are through the roof. And Nevada has the second highest unemployment in the nation. But career politicians don't seem to care.
Insiders like multimillionaire Jackie Rosen don't get us. I'm not a politician, and neither are you. After the military, I worked in a warehouse and started a small business. I'll reverse Jackie Rosen's policies and bring down prices. I'm Sam Brown, and I approve this message.
We know that God did not create us to be equal to men. The people already know who the legitimate governor is, and you're looking at her, Steve. Don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. I don't believe in abortion. It is not health care. It is the killing, it is the sacrifice, it is the execution of a baby in the mother's womb.
Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more.
Gallegos, one of the most far-left people in Congress.
He is against the border wall. He actually threatened ICE agents. He attends defund the police rallies.
He's voted with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris 100% of the time.
And an essential partner to President Biden and me.
He's radical. This is not where Arizona is. We want safe borders, safe streets. We want to have an economy that's thriving. I'm going to take that same fighting spirit I have here and take it back to D.C. and fight for the people. I'm Carrie Lake, and I approve this message.
A reminder, this program and all of C-SPAN's campaign 2024 coverage can be found online at cspan.org/campaign.